Stop the prophetic madness. All right, here we go. 10 ways, 10 issues, 10 things, 10 problems with prophecy right now. I'm a huge believer in prophecy. We need it to escalate. We need to hear from God more. We need to train people to hear God more. But we do have a problem here in charismania, which I'm a charismaniac. And so, number one, avoid prophecy that doesn't communicate our role. So we see this all over the place where people are just predicting, prophesying, releasing things, releasing promises. And we need to understand that prophecy not found in Scripture is always conditional, which means we have a role to play. So don't just prophesy. Either let me know what my role is, or it should be very clear just in the prophecy itself. All right. Number two, always test prophecy. We see this in Scripture, of course, where don't quench the spirit. We hear about that. Don't despise prophecies, but test everything. And, man, I don't think we do that very much. People are just prophesying, machine gun style. And are we really vetting the prophetic word? Because I'm telling you what, a whole heck of a lot of prophecy out there, a whole lot is completely inaccurate, not really God. I'm not saying the people are always bad. I'm not saying they're false prophets. A lot of issues, though, with people kind of missing it and not stewarding the word very well. So we've got to test the prophetic word. Number three, avoid prophets. This will make more sense in a moment. Avoid prophets who are most always encouraging. Right? We hear about that in Scripture. Of course, the tickling ear prophets. Prophets are by design supposed to shake things up, to bring correction, to highlight error. And there's a lot of them out there, prophets that are always encouraging, because that's what sells books, that's what gets likes, follows, and subscribers, and invitations to churches. And so that's a big one. But let's talk about the next one. Avoid what I'm calling non-prophets, people who are not prophets, who are often rebuking and correcting. The rebuking and correcting job does not come with the gift of prophecy. The gift of prophecy is to encourage. That's what the gift is for. So we encourage, we speak life, we do that. And so those who are prophets, they really need to be focusing on correction and shaking and revealing what God's doing in the nations and what he's doing in the city. And, we need that. But those who are not prophets should not generally be correcting and rebuking. They should be encouraging. All right, next one, number 5. Oh, this is everywhere. Avoid general prophecies that apply to everybody. They make promises to everybody. This is absolute nuts in most cases. Yes, prophets can deliver a national word, or they can deliver a word to the city. Yes, there can be prophecies that are not attached to a specific person. Absolutely, that's the case. There can be a call to fasting or intercession. Absolutely, that can be the case. A call to holiness. However, what we're seeing all over social are these insane prophecies that are not prophecies at all. And they're making promises. Your promotion is coming today. Financial breakthrough is coming in this next season. How in the world could that be for everybody? Of course it can't be. Is it really for those who are in rebellion? Is it really for those who are apathetic? Is it really it's for everybody? Of course it's not for everybody. Stop that. All of you posting all this stuff on Facebook, stop that. Follow prophetic protocols. All right, number 6, use wisdom when receiving prophecy from the immature. Let me explain this. Yes, of course, without question, God can use anybody, and God can use I'm talking about young in age, young people full of fire, full of passion, devoted, submitted, accountable, all of that. Yeah, God can absolutely and will use people like that in a very big way. When I say immature, I'm saying people that are haphazardly immature. They're unnecessarily immature. They shouldn't be immature. And, so you've got these people that are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're prophesying all over the place, and they just don't have any spiritual maturity. And that's a big, big deal. Number 7, we need to understand that the devil has prophets. The devil will work through people. There's a spirit out there that will predict, that will steer, that will manipulate. And we need to know that, a prophetic word can come from the enemy. Long time ago, many decades ago in my life, I laid out kind of a fleece. I'm like, all right, God, line this fleece up. And if it lines up, then I know that I'm supposed to make this major decision in my life. And all of the stuff lined up. And by the grace of God, I did not make that decision, or I didn't do that thing. And it would have just completely derailed my life. And how interesting is it that these impossible things happened that sure seemed prophetic, but it was the enemy doing that. He heard my prayer, and he's like, all right, I'll line this stuff up for John and see if it takes the bait. So we need to understand that. You got to be very careful. We need to discern soul versus spirit. It's really easy to discern, spiritually, to pick up maybe what's going on in someone's soul, and they're projecting that, but it's not really what the Spirit of the Lord is saying. This happens all the time. Someone comes to an altar, they're carrying something in their soul, and it can be very easy to prophesy exactly what their soul wants to hear, as opposed to what the Lord is saying. All right, number 9, be very careful with futuristic prophecies. Yeah, they exist, but I propose that forth-telling, F-O-R-T-H, telling is way more powerful and necessary today than foretelling, F-O-R-E, which is futuristic. We need to release the oracles of heaven, the timely Rhema oracles from heaven. We do need to do that, absolutely. And yes, there will be some futuristic stuff that will happen. Of course, we know, in Scripture there is. But I'm talking about prophecy today. Be very, very careful with that. And then number 10, rarely say, thus saith the Lord. Quit putting God's name on it. You can be wrong, right? When I prophesied 99 times out of 100, I will say, I sense the Lord saying, I feel the Lord saying, and I don't do it casually. I got the fear of the Lord on me. I don't want to prophesy if I don't feel it's the Lord. I want to do my very best, but I'm also admitting that I am human. You're human. All of us are human. Everybody around, everyone driving down the road right now, human. And we make mistakes every day, all the time. We have limited understanding. We prophesy in part, in fact, is what the Scripture says. We see in part. And so we got to admit that we're fallible and we can make mistakes, right? So be very careful about saying, thus saith the Lord. It happens a lot. Slapping God's name on something. You can take it too far and take God's name in vain. And by telling people he's saying something he did not say. So there you have it. Stop the prophetic madness. Let me know what you think. Talk to you next time.